Hello everybody, and welcome to video 5 in a series of videos about thick paint, or actually Skip's Ultimate Thick Paint, and tips and tricks that will help you change the brushes or utilize them specifically for your workflow. Okay, now we've talked about what I've really been talking about is how to adjust the brushes to work with them in a pretty thin manner. That's because I think a lot of people were looking for that ability. And so I want to go now into a little bit thicker stuff. I'm not trying to really do a painting here, so the stuff that I'm fixing to do is going to look a little bit odd. I have selected pine needles, which is a different paper. And I've come in and grabbed this middle gray from our Harmonies, and I'm using the number 2 thin wet bristle. Everything is at the original setting except that I've reduced the size of the brush a bit. And as I begin to paint, because this brush is blending and the color that I'm working with is so close to the base color, it's not showing much of a change. And what you see is like an embossing of the texture. And I really like its ability to do that. If I switch to this dotted demo, and let's see what we're set on. Yep, okay. And I paint with it, see how the dots are raised and the background sinks in. So what that's telling you is that with white, it's not going to paint as much. It's going to paint more with the black dots. So if I reverse this, where I've got black in the background and white in the foreground, now when I paint, I'm going to get just the opposite of what I got last time. See the objects, the round, it's hard to see it, but the round lines are now, the round circles are now sunk into the canvas. Okay, now if you want to get color involved, then what you want to do is add another layer, at least if you're using this brush, because it isn't going to cover this stuff up. But if you add another thick paint layer like that, and then you come in with a different color, let's pick this orangey yellow, and we'll close this, and let's go to crystals. I don't know what they look like. No, I'll tell you what, let's go to rice paper. And then, as I begin to paint, I'm going to paint with that color, but with a lot of texture. And it's not, the canvas texture, so it's going to give me a kind of a different look. So now I'm getting a spotted apple. Now I could use the lighter color over here, like I was doing, and then take the darker color over here so that I could keep my values going. All right, so that's another thing you can do, is that you can add texture. Now again, I'm working very thin. But if I go to something like this thick, very dry, no, I want this is it, thick, very dry round. And I take this gold color, and let's take it up to a lighter notch. And we want to make the brush size a little smaller. Then I can come in here and put this highlight as a textured surface, but I need something with some texture. So let's try the needles and see if we can get some texture there. Yeah, there we go. All right, so you see, I could do something like that where I'm just putting a little bit of paint down. And this is probably the best way, or at least I like working with these really thick brushes when I'm doing landscapes, okay? So what I'm, just as a recap, what I'm beginning to tell you here is that you want to use a lot of paper. You want to test how the paper looks. Change the layers if you want to put this paper, show the paper higher up, where it's not going to blend with the color underneath. For instance, if I change color here and I stay on this layer, you see that's going to blend together and change the color. Now it's going to be totally different from the base because the thick paint will not pick up color from a previous layer. But if you get close to the color that you've got and you put in these textures like that, that's another very valid way of working to get some interesting marks that create a nice look in Painter. And with that, I think I've kind of told you just about everything you need to know. The rest of the stuff is just basically manipulating what I've already done. I mean, the different brushes will appear different. You know how to make a round brush flat. You know how to reduce its grain or increase its grain. You know how to reduce its thickness or increase its thickness. So you know a lot about these brushes now, and you just need to try them, and you can go in the direction that I was heading with this apple, or you can do something a lot thicker by going with some of the more thicker brushes and playing with paper textures. Okay, I hope this gives you enough information to get started. I would love it if you do any painting, I would love to see the work. I would actually like to post it. So if you have anything you would like for me to post on my blog that you've made with the brushes, just send me a comment on the blog and I'll send you information on how to send me the painting, and I'll post it, and we'll see what kind of pictures come out of these this new brush set. All right. Hope you enjoy them. Bye-bye.